Something like you guys played tonight?
We could have been better, but that team was really good. You know, they came out real physical, real strong, and ready to get after it.
Yeah, I mean, these guys were an NAIA team. Were you just surprised by the way they threw a punch at you there? We're up at halftime.
I mean, we weren't surprised that they threw a punch. I mean, you know, it's a basketball game. We're always going to get the team's best every night. And to their credit, they're a good team. So, I mean, they threw us a punch and we responded. And that's what we're supposed to do during the game.
And, you know, Grant, were you just feeling it? I mean, 4 for 4. I mean, you didn't miss a shot today.
I mean, that's credit to my team, my coaches, stay in the gym every day. So, I mean, that's why the stats say that.
And, you know, below you as well, you mean, you had a strong performance. Just how do you feel about your day and, you know, what kind of helped you, stay in rhythm?
I definitely, every time when you have a good day, it always feels good. You know, my teammates definitely encouraged me. I think we could have been better as a group for sure, but definitely feel good when you do good yourself.
Yeah, just thoughts on the game that, you know, Atten had. Team high, 19 points. He was knocking down some shots for you.
Yeah, Atten, man, he's a real go-getter. He gets high. It's hard to stop him, so I'm happy for him. He's doing great. I hope he continues to do great.
The thing that changed it was the beginning of the second half there. What got you guys going after halftime?
Well, we knew number 13, he had 18 points during the first half, and, you know, coaches challenged us to make sure that he didn't score a point for another game and just to turn it up defensively and try to limit the turnovers, and that's something that I feel like we did better in the second half.
For sure.
Was that kind of the message in the second half, to slow down the guy with 18 points?
For sure, just like be tougher overall. I feel like they were getting a lot of easy buckets, so just making it tougher for them.
Coach really get into you guys there at halftime?
Coach, he didn't even give us the scream halftime this time. He told us we're grown men and we need to man up to the challenge and we need to compete at a high level.
And you guys had that game coming up against Oregon State. You came off kind of a tough loss your last game. Do you feel like you responded well to the last loss, and will this really give you some good momentum going into Oregon State?
I feel like our response to the loss was very mediocre. I think we need to come out hungry in next game, and we'll take this week to prepare and just get better as a team.
I felt like our early turnovers to start the game that were essentially, you kind of call them like, grenades. I mean, they're just like live ball layups that kind of gifted them 8 points to start the game. And then you allow a talented team that we knew was talented to kind of settle in, and you let them get some easies early, and you're in for a dogfight. And that's what you saw. I thought Vegas Evans was tremendous in the first half. We were short a couple times on some closeouts. Didn't think we were physical enough with him. Talked about that at halftime. And thought we did a much better job on him in the second half. Felt like we played with the level of urgency that you need to play with for probably like about a 15-minute stretch in the second half. A little in the first half, but again, I think you got to give them credit, man. It's easy to look inwardly and say what you didn't do, but they took advantage of it. They were more physical than us, especially in the first half. And when we made mistakes, they made us pay.
Were you surprised to get in a dogfight with an NAIA team?
Not really, because if you don't play well in the modern landscape of college basketball, they started 3 seniors and 2 juniors they've played against Division I teams before, and it's like they're not coming in here feeling like. So now more than ever, you have to show up and you have to play. So I wasn't surprised at all, and I was, reminding our guys like in time, like, hey man, like we're in. This is like a real, like this is on. We're gonna have to play well for long stretches of time to turn this thing around. And like I said, I thought that group to start the first half was good and, made free throws down the stretch. And I thought Grant really for the second game in a row, even though the McNeese game didn't work out in our favor, I thought Grant Newell made some really, really tough plays in traffic to come up with like loose balls. And that's good to see out of him. And it was reflective in the box score. I just looked down, I didn't even notice. I mean, plus 22 for Grant's a big number, as you guys know.
Evans, he went into halftime with 18, didn't score another point for the rest of the game. Kind of what specific adjustments did you make to slow him down?
Man, just felt like he needed to see more bodies. We got spread out in the first half. We were late to the gaps. So if you're like late to the gaps, then you're going to be late getting out of the gaps. And we were just a step late. And he had too much space. And then I think in the second half we did a better job of being up underneath him, make him drive the ball, make him play in a crowd, and we were able to force some turnovers on that.
And just thoughts on the day that Attenwright had today. He had stepped up 19 points, 3 threes.
Yeah, we needed every one of them. He was plus 15 and felt like, he made some really big baskets in the first half just to kind of keep us intact for the game. And was happy that he got to the foul line 6 times. We've been challenging him more he needs to get to the foul line. He needs to take advantage of shot fakes because he is such a good shooter. And to see him get to the line 6 times was good.
Yeah, what turned it with the run to start the second?
I think our activity level increased. Our activity level on the ball, our activity level off the ball, it simply played with a higher sense of urgency and more effort, And again, these are good players at all levels. And just like we saw in the second half of the Evansville game, if you take your foot off the gas just a little, that's the difference between them making or missing. You can't go in there and hope people miss. You have to make people miss. And I thought to start the second half, we made them miss.
And the game was kind of stuck between the McNeese game and then you get Oregon State here. Do you think you guys maybe were kind of hangover and then looking forward a little bit?
I didn't get that sense. I mean, you'd have to ask them. I didn't get that sense. I know our staff prepared the way we always prepare, and I felt like our guys, they're human beings. Like I used to like Louis Al-Hafid, was our old, director of scouting personnel and video coordinator. He's with the Legends now, and when he would want to schedule and he'd want to like go play UConn one day and then go play Florida 2 days later. I'm like, Louis, these guys are not like, this isn't a video game. They're actually human beings. So their mind can be, I don't think it was a mental thing. I don't think it was like, we don't respect Texas Wesleyan. They watched the film. What you saw out there tonight was what you see on the film. So I think they respected them. But you actually have to go do it, and we just couldn't do it for longest stretches of time, and that's where you got to give them some credit. They were physical, they were fast, they were up under us. They beat us to loose balls in the first half, but I personally did not get that sense. But you'd have to ask them.
And another game where you had a bunch of contribution from other players. Just how important is it to have that depth just going into the season?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it's huge again on a night like tonight where, Latrell had a hard time getting his shot going, and Rondell was really good against Minnesota. Made some shots early in the first half, but didn't play as well as the game went on. And so to get double-digit contributions from Belo and Massey and Grant and 10, and Jasper made a couple big plays late. So that's going to be a key theme for us as we move through the season. I don't think you're just going to see one guy that's like maybe in the past where it has been with the Tyler Perry or Javion Hamlet. And, if, Atten was great tonight, he didn't play great at Minnesota, and you just got to find ways to win those games.
Just early thoughts on this next game with Oregon State, kind of what have they done well this year?
Haven't really watched them yet. I watched a little bit of a Friday night game when they played Weber State on ESPN+. They have really good size, positional size across the board. Obviously, very, very well coached, veteran coach. They're at Oregon tonight, and we'll start kind of getting ready for them. But it's another,
They're winning.
Yeah. So it's going to be another, top 100 opponent, top 75 opponent, which is historically, if you look, been really, really difficult to get those type of teams to come here in the non-conference. So obviously appreciate everybody that came out tonight, and know we got a big football game on Saturday, but these games are really hard to get, and would love to have a great crowd on Monday night.